Sure, you can go off after 2 games and be like, God, that was so dumb, I hate that. But then come back the next day, nice and fresh and clear-headed, and watch your replays and just think, what could I have done better? Not just with mechanics, but also with a lot of the decision making. Again, you've heard me talk about some in-game decision making techniques, but still, so much of what's the right thing to do, you determine because you looked at one of your games and said, okay, I could have done this better. Let's see. Let us divine. Let us divine. Oh, okay. So here's a great question by Krakenhead231. Day 9. What's a good way to know when you have when you have the opportunity to expand or power drones as Zerg? So oh, and by the way, gamer, throw some more questions at me, and that way I will actually let me see how much. All right, cool. I've been going for about 43 minutes, and I have the delight of ending this daily by turning my freaking computer off, just because I can't actually control anything with my mouth. But yeah, about the learning how to power or when to make drones. So again, in-game, let's talk about in-game decision making. Whenever your opponent pretty clearly has almost no opportunity to have vision on the map, that's when you should be powering drones. That's when you should be expanding. So, I have a whole bunch of speed Zerglings. Outside his front, he cannot send out a scouting worker at all. And he has no Reapers, he has no air units, anything like that. He just seems to be going ground. Like if you wander in there and you scout 2 Gateway plus Robo Bay, hey, he cannot get out of his base. Time to make some drones. If you have a bunch of Mutalisks surrounding, harassing him, it's a good time to make drones. Right after you kill a big attack, it's a good time to expand, it's a good time to make drones. In all these circumstances, he has to pull back, and he just doesn't know what you're up to. And that is the huge key for Zerg being able to build drones. A lot of times, a Protoss player will only see 12 Zerglings, and that's it. That's all he can see at your front. He doesn't know. He 100%, if he is a good player, must worry about, oh my god, could Mutalisks be coming? Yes, they could be coming. So until you know they're not, you have to account for that fact. And because he has to account for a few things he doesn't want to, you get to make drones. You get to do that. So let's see. Oh yeah, here's another question by Frameshift. Zerg wasn't using control groups in this game. How do you control group your stuff together as Zerg? Yeah, I personally have 5 to 0 as hatches. And I know a lot of people have like 4 as hatches and 5 to 0 as queens, but I mean, it's my Starcraft oneness that I like using the 5 5 6 6 7 7 a bit. I think that mine's actually not as good as the all one hatch. Well, I don't know. I'm not too torn. Whatever. I'm not even going to go into too much detail about that, but really it's 1 to 4 as units, 5 to 0 as hatches. But I also want to add that it is super easy in the game to forget about your hotkeys, especially when you hit crisis mode and you're like, oh my god, I might lose, and you just start going to your hatch and you're shaking. I shake. You should shake. If you're not shaking, you don't have enough adrenaline in your body. So you go back, and you want to box, you're trying to make roaches and drones, and you're trying to make Zerglings and mutas so you can hold off this thing. And it's so easy to just go into box, move, box, move. Even in StarCraft 2, where you can hotkey everything as one thing. It's so easy to just be boxing and attacking, especially when you have different angles. It's so key you calm yourself down and just make yourself use the hotkeys. That is one of the most essential components to good crisis management, is having organization of hand and mind. That sounds so zen, but seriously, if you're not making use of your left hand in a crisis, that's bad. And that is going to be your tendency. In fact, some of you should even go watch replays where you thought you were ahead and you started to lose, and watch how your hotkeys just drop off. Happens to almost everyone except the very best players who are very good about it. Oh yeah, and someone says, who won the game, Zerg or Protoss? You never said. I don't know, actually. My computer crashed, but probably Josh. I would imagine Josh. Yeah, Josh. So let's see here. Oh, yes, from Tippakey. Day 9, when I go mutiling, I have a massive spike in my minerals because I'm so gas-starved. Is double expanding viable? How do you recommend smoothly taking a third base? I struggle with third bases. Oh, this makes me so happy. Okay, so first of all, yeah, I definitely double expand when I go one base muta. Always, like every single time. Because in the games that I saw, I was kind of going, I have the money to do this. Let's give it a shot. And I gave it a shot, and I had enough money to support them. Cool, great. Discovered it by just noticing, by being aware of how things were in my game and running with it. It's very easy to actually be too locked into your plan. You hear me talk about, like, stick to your plan, stick to your plan. It's great to have plans, but it's also just as important to develop the plans quickly by just being aware of where you are. Like, Josh had 6,000 minerals. I see no reason why he shouldn't have just taken the 2 bases on the right. Just 600 of the 6,000. It's not going to affect any of this other stuff. But the question I struggle with third bases, or that statement, is a very good statement to have. And by the way, gamer, just post a few more questions. Going to take a last one right now. That's the best question to ask, because that means that you're on the right track. Third bases are central to just whether you are starting to get it or not. And I don't mean get it as in, are you in the cool kids group? I mean, are you comfortable in the skin of the strategy that you're trying to develop? Third bases are the hard part. So when is a good time to take a third base? I like that general idea of whenever you start to encroach upon his vision of the map. That's when you have a good window to expand, because that's when he doesn't feel safe. Like Zerg, that makes sense, right? If I have Mutalisks all around his base, he can't get out with anything. Oh, I have safety to expand because it's seemingly hidden. But let's take Terran, for instance. Terran who's building up, and then they move out with a massive army. Oh my god, whoever the opponent is has to regroup and defend, and you're killing all the overlords in the paths and pushing back. You're pushing away his vision on the map. He has a smaller umbrella of control, so you expand when you attack. Seems good. Seems very good. Expand when you attack, expand when you harass. And with the third base, there's almost always a sweet time to do it, like a sweet spot where, hey, X upgrade finished, or blah batch of units just popped out, or I finally now have a Raven, so now is the good time to expand. 4th and 5th and 6th have a little bit more amorphous. It's like, yeah, now seems good. When you have like 27 roaches, but not before 20 roaches. One of these weird sort of times. But the third base always does kind of have a nice crispness to it. That, a lot of times you can get hints as to when it's good to take by just saying, I have an extra 300 or 400 right now, which means I could have started that expansion a little whiles later. So, without any further ado, I'm going to try to see if my mouse will work. No, absolutely not. Nope, my mouse is dead. My mouse is dead. You know, it's kind of funny because there's been a few dailies where I've been like, it's so hot in my room, it's 1,000 friggin' degrees. And every time it does that, my computer just, like, craps out. So perhaps my computer is as sweaty as I. And with those beautiful words, I'm going to restart my computer. Take it easy. Bye. Uh-oh, this is so scary. I'm going to say goodbye in 3, 2, 1...